our peanut butter, their chocolate, comes together. What we're missing in the system is a functioning executive to translate will into action. I posit the G20 in a growing role. What we're missing is a core-enabled sysadmin force. There should have been 300,000 troops in Iraq post-war. Should have been 50,000 Russians, 50,000 Indians, 50,000 Chinese. Why? It's going to be Russia's oil industry eventually. It's going to be China and India's oil eventually. And we need to create some sort of standing international financial institution to finance this over time. Again, this is going to rise out of the G8. They're going to determine how you spend this money. What we're missing in this system right now, the black hole in our system, is the capacity to successfully reconnect countries post-conflict. That's what I call development in a box, the notion that we got to get better at doing this. Why? Peace is the ultimate aftermarket. That's where people really make money. This is not about quagmires. This is about who makes the most markets in a flat world, Tom Friedman's phrase. Chinese already get this. We do not. So we're talking about the ultimate push package for post-whatever. We should have had it for New Orleans. Frankly, after New Orleans, the people in Baghdad said, oh, now I get it. It's what we should have had for Afghanistan. We did a slightly better job with the Temblor. We did a slightly better job than that with Aceh and the tsunamis. What we're looking for is basically an ISO 9000 series analogy. Create standards, tell them what the standards are, and then give them the interface. Make it as easy as possible. Don't make them rewrite DOS. Just give them Microsoft Word. You know? First thing you do when you go into a country is you establish trust within that country. Why? You want to connect it to larger networks. You want to make that interface as interoperable as possible. You want to get them plugged in so they can play. Okay? We say, why not just standardize this process? We know what these are. If you're going to do the internet, it's going to be TCP/IP. That's already been established. Just give it to them. Give them the whole damn package up front so you can get the private sector in there as fast as possible. And yes, exploit their cheap labor, paying on average 50% higher wages than the local economy can provide. Africa would love such exploitation. How do you determine these standards? I say it's not hard. Just look at what investors like. Investors like Singapore. They like China. What do they like about these countries? They see a certain capacity already built in. There's a certain amount of infrastructure already there, but it's not totally built up. Bechtel could work in China for the next 50 years and never work anywhere else. Behind that, they like to see a certain amount of social well-being, which is why it's important to keep the peasants happy in China. Behind that, a certain amount of legal system. Doesn't have to be perfect. Business will come in when it's sloppy. They like coming in when it's sloppy because they make more profits that way. There's got to be a state behind that. There's got to be security under that. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs tipped on its side. Okay? We pretend if we just do one, maybe two, we're out of here. That's called the Powell Doctrine.